Hello and welcome everyone to episode 21 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Of course, I'm Brandon Bovia, the English letterer for manga like Dragon Ball Super and Kaiju Number 8 and many more. Ready to talk about some good old One Piece this week.
Yeah, we have officially entered, well, not technically as of the first chapter, but by the end of this, we're in the Grand Line.
We've been on the border for this whole batch.
Yeah, I guess it is sort of the border of the Grand Line at this, because we definitely, you want lore? Because we got lore. Got lore
boy,
out the wazoo.
We have lore.
Just tons of it.
Yeah, wow. It's just, this is, it definitely, like we were kind of talking about last time, it definitely you can feel the shift in priorities, I guess, for the storytelling, where like the scope is just sort of ballooning.
Yeah, where before it was just like, well, Luffy drifting and like, I need this. Oh, hey, this person, or hey, I want this thing, and we end up in this place and we solve this problem. We get a new crewmate. It's kind of that, but now it's sort of like, okay. Really, ever since Arlong, or even really the Baratier with certain elements, it's like time to start really laying out. We've hyped up the Grand Line. Time to show why this ocean is so wild for this world. And boy, there's some good reasons for that.
Yeah, we're about to see.
Yeah, but first we got to deal with chapter 101, Reverse Mountain. And, of course, the travails of Kobe and Helmeppo, Volume 16, hindering a hindrance to the hindrance of the artillery attack.
I love the hindering a hindrance to the hindrance. It's so good.
I love those the series of titles. And I'll be honest, it took me a while to realize what the hell is happening in this panel.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
What is Garp doing here? And then I realized it. He karate chopped the cannon. He destroyed the cannon himself.
So Garp is he seems to be quite capable.
Yep. I mean, he does not seem to be putting out much effort there. He just karate chopped it and took out that cannon. I love, again, that sense of continuity you always talk about with Oda, because Kobe's gun is still cut up.
Oh, wow. I didn't even see that.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Pretty wild. And I mean, there's not much to say other than the fact that we have a wonderful title and Garp is freaking strong. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just devolved into chaos, this cover story.
Finally. It was so wholesome before. Now we got some chaos going on. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
But speaking of chaos, oh my God, this chapter.
Yeah, it's just bonkers.
Where Luffy's hanging out, again, the confidence of his, as he calls it, the special seat, where he's hanging out
gives me
upside
anxiety.
down. I know.
Like you see the waves crashing up, like if they're in the middle of a storm, Luffy is hanging upside down, like legs crossed over like the mast, like over the goat head of the Mary. It's just like you could fall over at any point.
I love the confidence of Nami as well. It's just like, wow, you're impressive. Of course. Now get down. No way, you're not getting my spot.
Who said I wanted it? It's great.
Yeah.
Even because that's sort of the pace that this chapter goes at is like Luffy does something dumb while Nami's trying to explain something. That
pretty much settles it. I also love them just sort of hanging out in the galley. As she explains, so somehow the entrance is a mountain, and I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely pointing towards a mountain on the red line. And, here's a little map so you can figure it out. But they've got to aim for a canal, but no canal can go up a mountain. So what the heck's going on here?
I definitely love the setup to this, that they're like, there's no way that could be it. And then, of course, that is the correct answer is that they have to go up a mountain. But I love the sort of like, that's not right.
Yeah, that makes no sense. It's conventional wisdom and all that. But I do like how Sanji is just 100% behind her. It's like, Nami's always right when it comes to charts. And meanwhile, Luffy starting another grand tradition that he really leans into with these set of chapters. We're climbing a mountain in a ship. Yippee! Must be a mystery mountain. Everything's a mystery thing.
He's just on cloud 9 for this stuff. Like I'm fairly certain this is all going in one ear and out the other for him, but he's just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's just, this is exciting. Again, it's a paradise, and we knew it'd be a paradise for somebody like Luffy. And Zora brings up a good point. So why do we have to enter the Grand Line through a mountain? Can't we just go across, sail south, really? Because we get that little nice little map there.
This map is really handy, by the way.
Oh, it really is. Actually, you know what? I want to mention something, and I'm not sure if it makes any sense at all. So and it comes from much later on, but I want to speak from the end of this set of chapters. So we get a big lore drop about kind of how the Grand Line is set up and ultimately what the final island is, where theoretically One Piece is. But here we have the map. So obviously all the oceans are pouring into the beginning of the Grand Line, but the end is right on the other side. What's the red line like that they can't just jump off and go?
I feel like we don't know that much about the red line, even though it is. I guess that's sort of the crazy thing about One Piece to me is that all from here, chapter 101 up through the current part of the story is all in this little strip of ocean that cuts across. And so, even though there's this giant landmass on the red line, like there's a whole lot about it that we just don't know.
Yeah. It might be the fact that like, okay, you got up there, you crossed it, congrats. You still need a ship. And you know what? I actually just answered my own question because of another thing. The way the navigation works in the Grand Line. Yeah, you might get to the end of the ocean, but it's never guaranteed that final island is right next to it. And good luck finding it with the way the Grand Line works. So, damn, Oda, you really did think of everything. I was like trying to find holes in your presentation here, but no, I'm failing.
They explain it. I think is all I can say about how that works. Getting to the final island. There is a method to the madness.
I'm curious to get there.
It's definitely not as easy as just like you just show up at the end.
Speaking of, we got another section of this. Going back to the whole. Why can't we just sail south and go in from anywhere? And Luffy just says, no way. And Nami's like, yeah, he's right. And Luffy's like, it's wrong if we don't go through the entrance. It's like, that is not it.
Straightforward Luffy as always. Just like, oh, okay, yep.
We have a chance for something adventurous. We need to take it. But weirdly, the storm stops. And that's because they've accidentally sailed into the calm belt where no wind happens.
That's basically a dead zone for ships.
And that's what keeps people out of the Grand Line. Okay, good reasoning. There's another good reason, though, for why you don't want to do that, because we get this amazing page turn.
Oh, yeah, this surprise also caught me off guard.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that, because it, like, starts rumbling, and then I love, like, it's like, Luffy's like, hey, is that an earthquake? It's like, we're at sea, you fool.
And look at these amazing monster designs. It's like such a great use for a 2-page spread, especially because we're seeing
these are crazy.
The Going Merry in comparison.
In size comparison is tiny with all of these just giant sea monsters coming out of the top. I actually do want to address that really quick because the manga translation calls them Neptunians, which isn't incorrect. You might think it's a little odd at first because the Japanese, when you just look at the kanji, it's just like sea and king. So most, I think even the dub, the Funimation dub might still use Sea Kings. But the reason that I guess they opted for Neptunians here is that like the kanji characters for the planet Neptune is also sea plus king plus planet.
Oh, that makes
sense. So it's not out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's a little weird, but there's a logic to it.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't catch me off guard too much just because Neptune, King of the Seas, all that stuff.
See, exactly. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like Japanese is a strange language and both interpretations can be valid.
Yeah. But man, I love the reactions. Just the most over-the-top reactions we've gotten from the entire crew at once.
Oh, look, Usopp's like bubbling at the mouth.
Foaming at the mouth.
I love all of like the black marker shading on everybody's faces.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Nami's just holding onto the main mast, just like crying.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just this whole set piece where they're just like the ship's getting flung around, Usopp falls off.
Yeah, trying to save him. I love the little nod too. It's like
crazy.
It's like, why do we need to worry about paddling? No, it's all good. And then as soon as like, okay, paddles at the ready, let's go.
So this is one hell of an introduction for the Grand Line.
Yeah.
Like the weather's crazy.
And it's not even the Grand Line. It's just what's protecting the Grand Line. You got a storm, you got the calm belt, you got to go up a mountain. This is just the entrance.
It's just, oh my God, there's so much going on.
Yeah. So I love the line, thank goodness it's just a typhoon we have to deal with.
Yeah, compared to giant sea monsters.
Mm-hmm. But that's when Nami realizes how Reverse Mountain works. Because of the sea currents, they all converge and basically force up. It's almost like a water spout type thing.
Yeah.
So you just ride the currents and go up it. You just have to make sure you're really accurate with how you're going up that thing because you're being forced along.
All right, so you could just crash right into it.
I love how like Luffy's like, yes, I understand. It's a mystery mountain.
Right, of course. I do love this line from Sanji at the bottom of the page though, where he's like, I heard you got to be half dead before you enter the Grand Line. After all we've seen over the past like 10 pages, it's like, oh yeah, this is all just bonkers. And
then we actually see the red line where, okay, granted, you're not going to easily enter that, but you can still hoof it maybe.
Yeah, and I love like you can't even. You're supposed to like get in at the right angle, but you can't even see it. It's all covered in fog.
Yeah, I don't see it at all. Like how they spotted it, I have no idea, and it looks so thin. I gotta see how they're all lined up because remember, Krieg's armada of 40 ships got in here.
Yeah,
and his ship was huge.
Yeah, I guess it's not super clear, but it sort of looks like the Mary like sort of just barely fits. Like there's room, but there's not that much room.
Yeah, I think it looks a little thinner just because they break the whip staff and they're going to crash into the side. So they're like literally on the edge here. Although I do love the little like, hey, take my hat to Zoro while he does his gum gum balloon.
Yeah, that's crafty that he's able to just like he uses the gum gum balloon as sort of like a cushion to sort of bounce the Mary back so it doesn't like crash.
Yeah, it's great ingenuity and
yeah,
I love that Zoro ready to get the save to grab a hold of them and they get launched on and now they're just rushing up the mountain. And they're just celebrating. It's great.
It's like Splash Mountain, basically. It's like this is a theme park ride.
It really is. They get set up. That boat's in the air. You could just it makes it really show how it's just this little boat in a big ocean. And we get our end just by saying, "There's the Grand Line." We don't even see it. It's just there. It is.
I appreciate that something as simple, quote unquote simple, as getting to the Grand Line, like that there's Oda is able to, even just in one chapter, is able to like there's all these layers that you have to go through, and it's just one chapter, but it's cool how much he's able to fit in, showing the process of what it's like to get to the Grand Line.
Yeah, and it definitely has like it's a quick pace. And you can totally see where the anime can just sort of stretch that out and make it work. Maybe like, okay, we can get an episode in the Calm Belt or whatever. I don't even know if they did that, but there is that aspect. Back to the SBSs. Nothing too crazy here, although I do love the simple answer. It's like, Nami and them look too young to be drinking alcohol. Should they be doing that? No.
No. But he doesn't specify what the legal drinking age is in the world of One Piece. So.
That is true. That is true. So I also like permission about like in copyright infringement for the whole photocopying of the class schedule and whatnot.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, let's go ahead and continue on to chapter 102. And now the Grand Line.
And now.
Yeah, it's like, all right, presenting. And as far as Kobe and Helmeppo, we got Helmeppo standing up to his father.
Yeah, he's gonna sell his dad out while his legs are just like vibrating.
Yeah,
and he's finally standing up to his dad.
I mean, he's was literally kidnapped by his father, threatened at knife point.
Yeah.
So
yep, he doesn't care about you.
Yeah, you get it. It's kind of a eye-opening situation. Yeah, not much to say about that one, except good for Helmeppo. We got some character development going on. But we're still in the middle of our theme park ride as Luffy's happily looking over as they go down the mountain. And man, Usopp and Sanji are definitely hanging on by being at the top of the sail.
Yeah.
Already something mysterious as they go down the mountain where they hear this weird wah.
Yeah, it's taking up a huge chunk of the panel that they're in, and they're just like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, what's going on here? And then another great 2-page spread as we see a giant whale at the bottom of the path. And okay, we get our size comparison here for the how wide all this is.
It actually took me a long time to figure out where the ship is in comparison to the whale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, where are they? Oh, they're this tiny little bloop.
Yeah, just a little tiny thing.
Yeah, there's a lighthouse at the bottom. Like the whale is massive.
Oh yeah. Absolutely massive. I appreciate that Oda kept this thing as simple to draw as possible. Just a black curve with some white, like massive white scars.
Yeah.
And simple eyes. Man, the perspective on this thing is insane.
Yeah. I love the next page where you can kind of like his body, the body of the whale is like shrouded in fog. So you have this shot of like, you can see the Going Merry, like just as this tiny little thing in the center of the first panel of the next page. And then it's just like a massive black blob with some fog cutting through it.
Yeah. And they're all like, all right, we can't see its eyes, so it probably can't see us. We're headed right for it, but there's an opening. Let's get hard to port, but the whipstaff's broken. It's like, well, that's not good. And then Luffy gets an idea, and that's never a good thing.
That's never if Luffy saying, "Hey, I've got an idea."
Use the front cannon to come to a stop and hit Laboon.
And the reaction faces are so good.
Yeah,
I love the sequence of you fire the cannon, and then Luffy's like, "Well, has the ship stopped?" And then you turn the page, and then like the ship just kind of crashes into it, and you see the front of the ship just like
the special seat.
Yeah, Luffy's special seat just cracks off.
And that's what he gets more concerned about. Is he comes
like,
back
no!
up. He's like, my seat. Oh gosh.
First thing getting to the Grand Line is that you just have like a traffic accident against a giant whale.
I know. This poor ship's already getting beaten up.
Right from the word go, basically.
They're like trying to get their way past it still. Get away because it didn't even notice the cannon. But unfortunately, Luffy wants revenge.
Yes. Is he punching him in the eye?
Yes, he punches the whale in the eye. Which...
God.
I love the reactions. Just the pure anger from Usopp and Sanji. Nami's basically just giving up the ghost.
Yeah, she's left for dead at this point. But the whale, of course, I think finally takes notice. It's like they say, it's looking at us. Responds in kind by eating them.
Yep, swallowing them whole. Which, man, that's an interesting perspective because it makes it seem like its lower jaw is just massive, almost like a scooper or something like that.
Right, yeah. Like you see the teeth kind of coming up above the ocean. Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
And immediately we have Luffy getting swept off the ship as this happens. That's not good. And he's like, oh, God, I'm going to fall in. And he somehow manages to get on top of the whale.
Top. He starts punching it. He's like, you spit him out, you ate my friends. As he's just like this tiny little blip on this massive black chunk of ink.
Exactly. And it's just like, oh boy, what's he gonna do? It's going under. He can't swim. This is bad. And he notices a door.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that one, I completely forgot about that. It's like, wait.
The whale has a door. Yeah.
Oh, all right. And then you flip the page after he's already dived, and there's an island in here with birds and clouds and everything.
Yeah, like this is... I love that they're like, are we dreaming?
It's got to be a dream. I love how it's like, oh, we're not dead. It's just a hallucination.
Everybody group hallucinating at the same time.
Yeah.
Going. There's a lot that happens. Going from them realizing that like, oh, wait, where are we? To the giant Neptunian squid coming out to it instantly getting like harpooned.
Yeah, like thunk thunk thunk. It's just like, geez, that's a violent death.
Yeah.
That's when Nami and Usopp are taking cover. They're crying, and meanwhile,
I hate this. I want to go home.
Sanji and Zoro are like, what's this? Like, who's this? Pulling this squid back to this island. Meanwhile, Luffy, of course, went in the door, and it's just, is this? It makes you think. Is this whale a submarine instead?
Right. Yeah. It's got like steel plating and got like wood supports and stuff. Like what is this?
definitely throws you off. And all we get is just this figure in black as Usopp's like, should we fire a cannon at it? And it's like, no, someone's coming out. It's funny how short this is because it's essentially an action chapter.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? I mean, that'd be certainly a lot of mysteries. Honestly, this chaos reminds me of the Baratier, where it's just thing.
Yeah, just the pacing, the way things just jump from one thing to the next. It definitely has that sort of Baratier chaotic energy to it.
Yeah. So, that was a chapter. But that brings us to chapter 103, The Whale. And
interesting choice of cover page where like it's colored marker, but like it's Luffy and the whale, but also Smoker and Buggy.
Yeah, I don't know why they're there. It made me think, I was like, wait, are we going to see them come into the Grand Line as
I guess
whale?
It's because
we don't.
Like Loketown just happened, so I don't know.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
it's odd, and it definitely raises Buggy up as a bigger threat.
Yeah, it's like I don't know about that one, Chief.
Yeah. But we see our mystery person, a flower. Well, according to Sanji.
Yeah, he's like, no. He's just got like these just like flower petals growing out of his head. Like he's like bald at the front. Very, very much an old man.
Yeah, with the strangest beard I've ever seen. Just, I guess, split.
I have no idea what's going on over there.
Mm-hmm. But absolutely powerful if he's able to kill a Neptunian squid like that.
I forgot how much I loved this gag. The anime definitely they play with the build up a lot more, but even in the manga where they just have like these two panels of them like staring at each other, and then you just flip the page and then Sanji's just like, say something.
He's just reading the paper on his lounge chair. I love how it's just everybody getting upset at him is like, well, first Sanji, then Usopp is like, well, you're looking for a fight? We'll take you on. We've got a cannon. And then forget it. Somebody's going to die. And Sanji's like, oh yeah? Who's that going to be? Me. Wait, you? and then Zoro is just like, hey, don't get all steamed. And he's like, oh yeah, the proper etiquette of you need to introduce yourself first. It's like, all right, sorry. My name's Crocus. I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, that's another one. A detail that the anime adds is that like Zoro starts to introduce himself, and then Crocus cuts him off.
That's so good.
It's just like, oh my god. Yeah, well, hey, he's 71, a Gemini, and his blood type is AB.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. So that's when they realized that yes, they really were swallowed by this whale. And if they went out, well, there's the exit.
Yeah, I was like, you could just get out.
Yeah, just a giant door. And apparently all of this is actually painted inside the whale's stomach.
Because it just looks like a normal sky. And then they're just like, wait, the sky's painted on. And I just love, he's like, Crocus is like, it's a hobby.
It's like, how,
who is this man?
Yeah, how is that? And then you see that his little resort, after it gets all wavy in there, is a ship made of metal because, hey, this is actually stomach acid, which is not really great for the boat.
Yes, the Going Merry infamously made out of wood.
Yeah, it's kind of a problem. It is weird to see the headless Going Merry, though.
Yeah, okay, it is a little weird.
We explain why the roughness is happening is because the whale is ramming the red line with his head.
That's how Nami notices that the scars from earlier.
Yeah, it's suffering somehow. Apparently, they're just assumed like he's going to kill the whale from the inside. Looking at this, like, man, you see that hit on the red line. You can see the blood spurting out. It's like, oh, it's awful.
Yeah, it just you definitely like Nami even's like the whale is suffering. Like at this point, they still don't really know like why the whale is doing this, but yeah, it's interesting that they sort of jump to the conclusion that Crocus is going to kill the whale.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one method, but that's a lot of work before you kill a whale to set up an island and all that. Meanwhile, Luffy's just getting bounced around because of all this shaking.
Right. Yeah.
And then we switch to new characters. The Mystery Man and Woman, Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday.
And apparently Miss Wednesday here saying that the village needs this animal. So it looks like they're here they're the ones trying to kill the whale.
Yeah, they got these big old guns and Mr. Nine's dressed up like a king. Miss Wednesday is hypnotic, I guess is the best way to put it.
It's got sure.
Yeah, why not? But Luffy finally gets bounced out of that whole hallway area and ends up in a canal of all things.
Yeah. The scene after that, like, it switches back the rest of the crew with Crocus. I was definitely like, oh, like, Crocus, like, the old man just jumps into the stomach fluid of the whale. You get this really cool shot of, like, all of, like, just, like, bones and treasure chests that I guess haven't been dissolved by stomach acid.
It just shows how much has been eaten by this whale. And, I mean, it's possible his crews came to the Grand Line and got eaten up in the same way.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you see some, like, the remains of, like, some ships and stuff in the background. Mm-hmm. Again, the first thing on the Grand Line, and you just get eaten by a whale, and that's where your adventure ends. Sorry, buddy.
What a time.
We try.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, well, we got to head for the door, so let's get out of here. And meanwhile, presumably at the same door, we confirm that later. Miss Wednesday and Mr. 9 are ready. I love this. We'll open it on 3, 2, 1, baby.
Why baby?
I don't know. Mr. 9 is something else, to be sure.
Then, of course, Luffy in natural action comes crashing into the both of them, and all three of them just crash right through the door.
Yep. And fall in. I love this. Hey, you're okay. Then save me.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hey, guys.
Crocus gets out of the water, starts climbing it. We see more of the perspective of the whale crashing his head. And that's when we finally get some internal narration from this old guy, from Crocus.
Yeah, he's trying to help him.
Yeah, the whale is actually named Laboon. And he uses a tranquilizer to get him to calm down, which that is a wild setup to just have this giant tranquilizer dart to poke the whale.
My brain is breaking at the scale of this whole thing, because this tranquilizer dart is tiny compared to Laboon. It's basically the size of Crocus himself, like lengthwise. You know, it's thicker, but like relatively proportioned to him. But that means that it is like 1,000th of the size of the whale.
Yeah, that tranquilizer must be
powerful.
Pretty powerful. Yeah.
Well, I guess Crocus mentions in the next chapter or two that he was a doctor, so I guess like he's just like, yeah, he knows how to make this stuff.
I guess that's true. But as Crocus points out, you could bash your head against here until your head turns to mush. You'll never get through the red line. So
yeah. Even now, even though we don't know the whole story yet, but it's sad.
It is. It's like, what is going on with this? It's like it is a real mystery.
Yeah.
Well, they brought aboard Luffy. They brought aboard Mr. 9 and Miss Wednesday, and they're sort of talking amongst themselves. It's like, well, they're pirates. Maybe if we understand the situation to them. And then Crocus just comes out and says, yeah, you're never going to harm Laboon. And they immediately decide to just blast a hole in him.
And Crocus takes the hit.
Yeah. Takes a big old hit.
70-year-old man just gets blasted by a couple of cannons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, Mr. 9 and Miss Wednesday do the whole, like, you'll never stop us, ha 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 ha. And then that, that's enough for Luffy to just bonk them both.
Yeah, bonks them both in the back of the head. I'm amazed we don't see Sanji react to Luffy hitting.
Right, like, you hit a woman.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I love the little detail that both their pinkies are still up as they get crashed to the ground.
Oh,
because that's been just a constant thing with them, is they always have their pinkies up.
They're very fancy.
Very fancy.
I completely missed that detail.
So we finally get some narration from Crocus about what the heck's going on, where Laboon is an island whale that only lives in the West Blue, the biggest whales in the world. And these guys are from a village that want Laboon's whale meat so they could feed the village for 2-3 years because of just how much of it. How you'd refrigerate all that, my God, I have no idea. But yeah. And we get his backstory, where basically he was a little baby whale, came with this group of pirates. Basically, they were just all friends. They were his kind. They are all celebrating and having a good time together. And you can see them on the shore here, like they're riding on him, they're drinking, they're making merry. We got guys dancing all around. I think there's a guy with a violin back there just playing music.
Everybody's having a good time.
Exactly. But they also realize that this is a very dangerous trip. So, hey, watch Laboon. We'll be back in a couple of years. Unfortunately, it's been 50 years, and Laboon is still thinks his friends.
He still thinks his friends. It's like an even more gut punchy version of like the dog back at the village that Buggy ruined.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's it's sort of like the faithful animal waiting for their master to come back.
Yeah,
but this one just hits different.
It really does, because you see them interacting and all that, and it's unfortunate. It's another one of those Futurama dog moments.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Where it just breaks you. Fortunately, this does not have music to utterly devastate you.
Yeah. As we'll see by the end of this chunk of chapters, though, like that key word before they left, where they say like, we're going to circumnavigate the world and return here. That is it's quite important.
Huh.
We'll get there when we get there. It is. I think that's chapter 105.
Okay. Oh, I know what you're talking about now. I thought you were talking about something later in the series, but yeah.
Oh no, yeah. I figured it would make more sense to talk about it there.
Right. And the other thing here is that these pirates are not part of the Great Age of Pirates.
Right. Yeah, because this was 50 years ago.
The Great Age of Pirates only began 15 years ago.
Yeah. Gold Roger, I think, died 20 years ago. Per the story.
Yeah.
Relative to where we are right now in the story.
That is interesting that these guys are just normal pirates, not really after anything as far as we can tell, just going on an adventure.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. But that brings us to the SBS and two fun bits. One is like, hey, you wrote that you make the same expression as your characters when you draw them. Is that true when you draw Nami's sexy expressions? I love Oda. It's like, why, of course. The sexiness of my expression surpasses even those of the magazine queens, according to the town gossips.
As a bit of context, I think what he's talking about with magazine queens is that Shonen Jump doesn't do this, but a lot of manga magazines just have like pinups of just like real life photographies of like women in bikinis and stuff like that.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, but he's just like, I'm sexier than even those.
I mean, Shonen Jump might not have those pinups, but that did not stop them from running to Love Rue. So
yep, or even a very similar series from the same artist even now.
What is that series? I'm not sure if I'm not familiar with that one.
Ayakashi Triangle is from the artist of To Love Rue.
Oh, I don't think I've ever heard of that one. Oh boy.
Yeah, it is now they as of this recording, they're like, we're moving this to the online magazine because we just like, it's too much.
It's too much. It's popular, but it's too much. It
basically had it was like a year and a half basically of running in the main magazine. We're like, all right, you're getting a little carried away.
Does the American Viz translate it or not?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. It's a bit of a mess, that one, but
I mean that's fair.
As far as licensing goes, it's a bit of a complicated.
Oh, I see. I see.
For a good while, I think they sort of like, I don't know the entire situation, so I shouldn't speak on it.
Yeah. well, speaking of sexiness, we got a question about Luffy and his stretchiness before. Time for a question about Buggy and his choppiness when it comes to all of his parts.
I think this is a consistent answer every time somebody asks about the nature of one's body when possessed by a devil fruit. Oda seems to get and specifically chooses to answer these questions all the time.
Yeah, it's just like, yes, it happens.
Everything.
So
if your body is whatever the devil fruit is, the whole body.
Yep. Oh boy. So let's go ahead and move on to chapter 104, Cape Promise, where we find out why somebody as strong as Garp got caught off guard by Morgan. He was sleeping.
Yeah. He was sleeping. I just love that he's like laughing it off and he's got this scar running like halfway through his chest.
Yeah, I know. It's like, it's whatever. He got me. Sorry about that.
so strange. I feel like all that we know about Garp now is that he's kind of dumb, but also really strong.
Yeah, apparently the dumb ones in this series are just really strong as well. Go figure.
Yep.
But yeah, we get to travel out of that area, go through the waterway, and they're asking, why did you build all this? It's like, well, it might not look like it. I'm actually a doctor. I ran a clinic on the Cape years ago. I even spent a few years as a ship's doctor. And Luffy immediately asked him to be our ship's doctor.
He's like, I was like, bro, I'm 71.
Yeah, I am too old for this. Go. Go away.
You stupid kids.
And the reason he built all this is that it's impossible to treat the whale from outside, so he has to do it from the inside. And how he built all this by himself. This entry, like this literal door in this whale.
Like, not only is this man a doctor, he's like an engineering genius.
Yeah,
he just has all of the set up inside of the whale. Like, that's ridiculous.
How did he do this? He has lights set up. He has power going. This is
the whale is basically a mech.
Yeah, the Laboon here is a cyborg.
Yeah, basically. Well, I love first thing, like they exit Laboon and they're just like, so what do we do with Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday? And they just yeet him overboard.
Just toss him, get rid of him.
Yeah, it's like, all right.
They're just like, who are you guys? It's like, mind your own business, but don't forget that our business is pirates. The organization will be very interested in them. Just you wait.
They have this threat, but Mr. Nine, like, his pinky's like broken.
It does look broken. Like, Miss Wednesday has a more natural extended pinky, but Mr. Nine there is just like, ugh.
Now that you pointed it out to me, I can't unsee it.
Yeah, you always see it. It's impossible.
Oh, God.
But they swim off, and Sanji is forlorn. It's like, oh, it's a mystery of a woman. Meanwhile, Luffy finds some weird thing that they dropped, but Crocus is like, yeah, no matter what we do, whalers are going to show up. They're just sort of talking easily as Laboon wails. Huh.
Yep.
Next to the lighthouse. Luffy just believes that it's like, man, those pirates have kept them waiting a long time, and Sanji's just like, yeah, they're dead.
They're dead. Yeah,
There's just no way. It's actually, they're not dead. Crocus says, those pirates fled the Grand Line. I have it from a reliable source.
It's interesting that we don't, to my knowledge anyway, we like, they don't, he doesn't say what source there is.
Yeah, we don't get the source. We also don't know how they fled. So apparently to flee the Grand Line, you have to cross the Calm Belt. So
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess that's it. Like, you know, that's why their fate is uncertain. So if they have to cross the Calm Belt, that's where all of like the Sea Kings and stuff are. So
yeah,
I guess the implication is that if they tried to escape and probably got eaten.
That makes Don Krieg a bit more impressive.
Right, that he was able to.
I mean, only like one ship survived, but they crossed the Calm Belt.
I would like to believe that Mihawk just killed all the Sea Kings just to let them get out.
And then chase after them because he crossed it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. We get more of like why the Grand Line is so dangerous from Crocus. It's like the season, the climate, the ocean currents, even the air currents. Everything about this place is unpredictable.
Nothing makes sense here.
Yeah, nothing is normal, and fear is common. They're just sort of commenting. It's like, man, their fear overtook them, and it's just too cruel to them. And unfortunately, Laboon just won't listen to the whole idea that like they abandoned him.
The flashback that they jump to for a couple pages is real sad, where like he tells Laboon the news and like he just starts wailing again. Pun not intended,
exactly.
But, yeah, and then like the sort of he's you get Crocus here being like they'll never, and he just gets cut off every time he like tries to say like, you know,
it's just like, I'm not listening. I'm not listening.
It gets you a little bit.
Yeah, it does. It not as much as some past things, but I'd say this.
Well,
this is about equal to the dog, again.
Yeah. It's sort of like a sad little, like, it just not super huge in the grand scheme of things, but it is just like a sad little vignette kind of kind of short story.
Because you're spending about as much time with the whale as you do the dog in the grand scheme.
Yeah.
Makes for an interesting story, and it's fascinating. It's like he's ignoring what I say, afraid to lose his reason for waiting. He doesn't want to lose that hope. And there's no way home to the West Blue from here. So
yeah,
it's his only hope for going home. It's like he takes care of him because of his, because of the scars. Like I can't. He won't listen to me, so I gotta follow it. So I can't watch him die. Cut the Luffy screaming.
You get a sad backstory, and like the next thing Luffy is just like, okay, time to do something ridiculous.
He's screaming, grabbing the main mast of the Going Merry, ripped it right off.
Oh my god!
Which is just like, man, this
stabs
him. I love how he runs up vertically, and then
he calls it the gum bouquet.
And stabs him, and that certainly got his attention because he's ramming his head and all that, but this is a new type of pain where he's just like, what the? And I love that they're all just comments like, isn't that the mast of our ship? Yep.
Yeah.
That's me mast. And it's just like,
it's just, I couldn't believe it. I'd completely forgotten that Luffy did this. It's just like, wait, but
yeah, it's just like
you need that.
Everybody's screaming. It's like, what are you doing? Croc is losing his mind. Usopp's again very protective of this ship. Don't destroy it. Meanwhile, Luffy hanging on for dear life.
The poor Mary, like, they've broken 3 different parts of it, and they've been in the Grand Line for 4 chapters.
And who knows the state of its underbelly because of being in the stomach acid.
Yeah. It's, oh, man.
Yeah. And Laboon's getting ready to ram Luffy into the mountain and whatnot. And it's just like, get out of the way. It's like, don't worry, he'll be all right. That whale can't smash him. And Luffy punches him in the eye again, gets thrown against the lighthouse. And as the fight seems about to continue, he says, it's a draw.
He straight up challenged a whale like 1,000 times his size to a fight.
Yeah. He's like, our match isn't over yet. We still have to settle it. But your friends may be gone for good, but you've got a rival now. Me. After we circle the Grand Line, I'm coming back and we're going to fight again.
These are my favorite Luffy moments.
Yeah.
Like, he does something ridiculous, or that is ridiculous on the surface, and you're like, oh, there was a kind of a heartfelt reason for this, you know? Like, it's definitely very consistent with his character, even though he ripped the main mast off their ship.
The backstory didn't get me, but seeing Laboon cry at Luffy's words, that gets me.
Laboon cried, and he makes a promise to come back, like, even though, you know, as far as the story is concerned, this was like literally 1,000 chapters ago, but like I still feel to this day like that they're going to come back for Laboon. And just like the story setup and this sort of like, this is a character that has been abandoned, and Luffy is like, we're going to come back for you. I fully believe that.
That feels like an epilogue type thing where like the adventure's over, here's what they've been up to, and you see them visiting Laboon in one, because
absolutely
it just feels the right way. But a lot of silly ones with this OBS, not OBS, SBS. But somebody asking, and something I didn't even think about, how can Arlong wear finger rings when he's got webbed fingers? And Oda just says they're more like pierced rings than normal rings, which I didn't think about, but that's pretty clever.
Sure, yeah, why not?
Yeah, that works. But time for chapter 105, Log Pose, where, Helmeppo seems to have abandoned his father, and Morgan's all by himself in this boat.
Serves him right.
Yep.
So he's a felon, or not? No, that's not the right word. Fugitive.
That's
fugitive.
It.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a fugitive.
I wonder about the symbolism of the 2 seagulls sailing next to him. It's like, what do I do?
Yeah. I laughed at the way that this chapter opens.
I got some good old Luffy
turned the page,
art.
And even now I forgot. I was like, oh my god.
The painting of Luffy's symbol onto that whale, and how bad it is.
Yeah, it's just. Is it the same?
I think so.
Yeah, like when Luffy first tried to paint the Jolly Roger on the Going Merry. I think it's like the same, like just poorly drawn one.
I think so, but you gotta, you know what? For its size, that'd be really hard to do.
I just noticed the Band-Aid too.
Yes, the Band-Aid's really good. Just this ridiculous aspect, but it's also really sweet. It's like, all right, that's our contract. Don't go ramming into stuff and erasing it before we get back.
Yeah.
Luffy just solved the problem of this whale constantly trying to hurt itself.
Yeah. In the most goofy way possible.
Mm-hmm. We're getting a bit more relaxation here. Everything's kind of calmed down.
Yeah.
It's like Nami's going to plan out the voyage. Sanji's time to cook up that elephant bluefin. And Sanji is fixing the main mast. He's like, I'm not the ship's carpenter, and it's like, well, there's another job we'll need to fill.
Yeah, it's definitely like I think we see the ship from different angles at other points in the chapter, but just like the patchwork, to repair everything is just
poor God. Usopp.
Yeah,
Laboon goes off, but there's a giant scream as it does so. And turns out, Sanji 1 has food ready, but the compass is spinning like crazy, and Nami doesn't know what to do about it. And that's when Crocus is like, "Oh,
like you guys were not ready.
Yeah, you're not prepared.
Time for some lore.
Your compass isn't broken. The islands of the Grand Line are rich in minerals, and the region is filled with abnormal magnetic fields. So the sea and wind currents follow no pattern, and that's another reason why it's dangerous, because if you're not prepared for it, you will get lost. And Nami actually didn't know this.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that she didn't.
And of course we get Sanji is like, Nami, you're cute. You're still cute even when you don't know something.
She's just like, shut up.
And of course, Luffy's there to scope out the food, and he's like, "Ooh, the bluefin trunk is good." It's like just eating a trunk. It's like, gross.
Yeah, it's just wow. Yeah.
So that's when we learn what a log pose is: a special compass that records magnetic fields. And I love this. You mean a weird compass?
He's just calling everything weird.
Yeah,
or more weird or mysterious.
Mm-hmm. It's just like they have an unusual shape. You mean like this? Yes, like that.
Yeah, like that. I love Nami punches Luffy. Like, where'd you get that?
Where'd you get that? They dropped it. I also love the very mild, probably unintentional pun here. Why'd you hit me?
Yeah.
Just cause. You could also read that as just cause. Because no, I'm Justin hitting you.
Yeah.
And now we get to see how the log pose kind of works. So again, back to the magnetic fields that operate according to their own laws. You must record the magnetic field that connects one island to another in the log pose, and then sail to the next island. So very video gamey, especially because we learn that there are 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 magnetic fields.
I guess that's at the start at least, because it looks like they sort of, like the diagram they have, it's like they kind of combine at points.
Right. It does sort of focal point all of them. And as they said, all the routes eventually become one, and the last island is Raftel, the last island in the Grand Line, and only one group of pirates is known to have landed there for sure, the Pirate King.
Of course.
And of course, is that where the One Piece is? Perhaps. We don't know.
We don't know until you get there.
Mm-hmm. And Luffy's just like, until we get there. So he's all confident.
Well, I guess it's sort of cool now that we're into the Grand Line, we sort of have like a slightly more specific goal in mind.
Yes.
Like Luffy wants to become king of the pirates and get the One Piece, and now we know that we know it's somewhere. We know that it's basically at the end.
Yeah, it's like how do you find the One Piece? Why has nobody found the One Piece yet? Well, it's because it's at theoretically this last island that nobody has been able to get to other than the Pirate King. So we have a goal.
The thing I alluded to before is that, like, sort of by reaching the final island, the implication is that you're circumnavigating the globe, because you're going from one end of the Grand Line to the other. So I was sort of like, okay, so they're trying to do what Roger eventually accomplished.
Yeah. And same with those pirates from 50 years ago. It was just an adventure. It's just like, let's see who can do it. That might have been just a thing. It's just like, let's see who can conquer the Grand Line. And they threw their hat into it, and they were all confident. So, but time for some comedy, because Luffy ate all the food.
Yes.
The entire bluefin tuna.
He even ate the bones.
Sanji's like, I made that for Nami. I wanted her to have the best of it. And he kicks him, and he goes right through the log pose, destroying it. Yeah.
Well, I love, it's like, Nami is like, wow, a log pose. I better be careful with it. The fate of our journey rests with it. And then just, even on the same page, it breaks. And Nami just kicks both Luffy and Sanji into the ocean. Even, despite the fact that Luffy would die. But
yeah, Sanji's in there with him, so it's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
I also love the hearts coming out of Sanji as he's falling.
even getting punished, he can't help but simp.
Nope, can't help it. And it's like, what are we gonna do? And like Crocus is like, don't worry, you can have mine. It's thanks for helping Laboon. And of course, Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday are back because they need their log pose.
Like, well, yeah, we can't get back.
Yeah. We kind of have that, kind of need that, I should say. And apparently things are kind of desperate, because if they don't get back and explain things to the boss, they'll have their heads. And then all of a sudden, something called the Unluckies, Mr. 13 and Miss Friday, a vulture and a sea otter.
I just realized that it's the Unluckies because it's Friday the 13th.
Oh my God, I never realized that.
Yeah, like I didn't realize that when I first read it. It's just now as we're recording, I'm like, oh, okay.
I have never. Oh my God, I never realized that.
Yeah, see, oh, it's so good.
That's wow. Okay, I did not know.
Yeah, because it's just like wait, that's such a weird like. I don't remember if these two ever come up again, Mr. 13 and Miss Friday.
I believe. So I was
like, why do they have
if I remember, I think they do.
Okay, I was like, I thought it odd that they had a title, and so it's just now I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. And well, it's interesting that they seem to serve the purpose to just like dive bomb.
Yeah, the purpose seems to be getting rid of traitors or people who are incompetent because, like, we'll explain, we didn't betray them. And
right,
the otter uses his shell to light a fuse that the vulture then drops on the two and blows them up.
Right. Well, it's interesting that they still survive. Well, first, I love that like they kind of climb back on shore and they still have the pinky out as they grab on. Like, oh my God,
it's really good. And I also love that all of them are just breathing heavily. Like, yeah, they're just like, Sanji and Luffy are down there too. And this Sanji immediately switching to, allow me, Miss Wednesday. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, all right, please take us to our hometown. It's called Whiskey Peak. And Nami's just like, why should we help you?
Well, I love that Mr. Nine's like, I'm a king. Nami's just like pinching him, liar.
It's like, we can't tell you. We just want to go home and we promise to repay you. It's not our fault. Our work requires us to be secretive, and our company's motto is mystery.
It's very getting some Team Rocket vibes from these two.
It really are. It really does feel like that's the case. I also love that Crocus is like, don't trust them. Those two are no good. I also, Nami's the best, especially in these moments. It's like, oh yeah, we broke the log post you dropped. Do you still want to come with us? It's like yelling at him. It's like, we got our down on our hands and knees and begged, and you're stuck here too. Oh, but we have one that Crocus gave us. We appeal to your kindness.
Yeah, I love that they're bowing and then they're like, hey, and like, oh, we're bowing again.
She's just playing with them.
Oh man.
And Luffy decides, yeah, you can come with us. So we have our island that we're going to go to and
you're going to Whiskey Peak.
Yeah, the Whiskey Peak path. There's no changing it. Like, we're on this set of islands. Yeah, and it's like, I love this response. It's like, once you've chosen your course, there's no changing it. If we don't like it, we'll just sail around again.
Wait, I don't think that's how that works.
No, but I love that Crocus is just like, cool. All right, so you will.
Yeah, and of course, the Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday are just like, stupid pirates. Like,
you can't trust them.
Already given up the game.
Mm-hmm. Also, look at the poor special seat with it looks like it's a neck brace.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, and just the mast and the special seat. Just everything's just busted.
It's in working condition at least.
Usopp got it back up pretty quickly, but I can't help but laugh at. We are now at the end of chapter 105. Like, okay, we're going to the Grand. Like, we're here now, and the ship is already just like, we have broken it.
We're only just setting out from the landmass next to the Grand Line.
Yes.
And I have to assume those metal pieces came from Crocus because of all the stuff for Laboon,
Oh yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, we say goodbye to Laboon and Crocus. And we of course, have this last line from him. Could that bunch be the pirates we've been waiting for all this time? That boy has a strange air about him. Roger?
Oh,
that's so good.
Oh boy, the tease.
That's
I got some thoughts on it, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, it's like, that's. I think we know what ship we can assume he was doctor on.
Yeah, wow. At least that's at some point, because he was there for 50 years.
That is true. So he for a little bit.
So anyway. Given the. Yeah. There's that. He knows who Gold Roger is, and he was probably friends with him at some point.
Yeah.
But man, what a tease!
Seriously, that likely will not be followed up on anytime soon. It's just like, ho. here's a breadcrumb.
Yeah. Man, I forgot. Because going into Logetown, we were like, yeah, we covered this all in 5 chapters, but like this was also like another 5-chapter arc, basically.
Yeah. And I think this is the last of those 5 chapter arcs for a while. I think.
Yeah, but man, it's such a satisfying bow to put on everything for these past 2 episodes.
It really is. It's the setup that's like, okay, here's the last of East Blue. Here's the basically prologue of the Grand Line to establish to readers, here's what it's like. Mm-hmm. And that's cool. I mean, it's well paced. It has an interesting backstory. We get more of Luffy being awesome, and just it's a nice adventure. And that's always the best part of One Piece, is when it captures that adventure element. But there is 2 fun things in the SBS. One, we get a bit more of an idea of how much Buggy can split himself up. You can't go too small because he'll lose control of himself. And then I love this other person saying, hey, on page 78 of volume 9, the panel shows the kanji characters koi for love and sake for rice wine. You didn't mean koi for carp and sake for salmon, did you? I mean, you wouldn't do that, would you? By the way, what kind of fishmen are they? It's like, that's such old material. I can't remember. Anyway.
Well, it's funny he says that because that was like 4 volumes ago.
I know. I don't remember that. I don't know. But that is our set of chapters. And as we were saying, just a fun introduction to what the Grand Line is going to be like.
We got a lot more lore than I remembered.
Yeah. There's a lot more to Laboon than I remembered as well. Because I remember the basic premise of Laboon, but I forgot all of his mechanical parts.
Yeah. I think I was expecting that to get more explained than it, because I sort of remembered parts of like, okay, yeah, he like sort of built out parts of Laboon, but yeah, it is sort of just like he's just here.
Yeah, he managed it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah, it's fine.
I love that these chapters establish what we can expect from the Grand Line from this point on, because it's like, all right, here are the rules. Everything is crazy, but the way you navigate is island to island, which gives them a built-in excuse to stop at an island.
Yeah, it is sort of like a, I mean, because I feel like that is sort of building out for what the formula for One Piece kind of is, because it is just like, going from one island to the next as an adventure, but like, it's sort of tied into how you get to the end, which is really cool.
Yeah.
It's basically like, have an adventure. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. You got to go to these islands, wait an amount of time for the log post to track itself, and then move on. And that's...
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking forward to seeing even more of this as we continue on.
Yeah.
But with that, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 101 to 105 of One Piece. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube, or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter. Brandon, where can everybody find you at?
I'm on Twitter at Brandon Bovia, just my name, talking about anime manga games in my job. I don't think I have anything too interesting to talk about coming up here soon, but as always, if you're down for random facts, that's what I'm good at.
Yeah, as of right now, you managed to release the latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super, so...
Yeah, Dragon Ball just came out, which was... that's fun.
Yeah, always. But yeah, check Brandon out, and if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derek Bittner, that's DERRICKBITNER, to listen to the next episode 3 days early. And make sure to return next time as we discuss chapters 106 to 110 of One Piece. Until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.
Fight, we'll fight! We got cannons back here, you bastard! You try it and someone's going to die. Yeah? And who's that? Me, of course. Excuse me!